Hello world, my name is Chromaray and welcome back to Little Bunny. I opened the front gate and went into the field. In the last episode we were trying to search for the random lost kid and we enjoyed the birds in the background, but now is not the time for enjoying birds in the background, isn't it? It's time to find and discover and solve the murder mystery. Carefully so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. The silhouettes I saw were around here. They were jumping around holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares into ash, but the aftertaste was still there. He's referring to the animals we saw dancing earlier. Distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me. And a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent. I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much more scary than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around laughing or spent time together, almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke up. I don't know why I said tree, probably because I'm looking at all these trees, and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who though? From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms in the black ground and everything, and somewhere far away a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. Silence. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this wide field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust of belt and powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobbly tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze in the ice. Oh, that's not a good sign. Glove in the tree? Who else lives around here? The kid that's gone or turned into a wolf? Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried. What does his hat say? Cropped? I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and then I almost got to the edge of the forest. I saw a knitted mitten hanging in the wind. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semidark. Should I take it to the police? Their senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? Vuva! I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. Vuva! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vuva! Resounded closer to me. There was someone standing there, behind the trees, hiding. Vuva! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, there was something unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. What are we looking at? Its blackness. I don't see anything yet. Is it hidden in the trees? The scene is so detailed and beautiful, I can't see it though. There's no one out there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. Vuva! A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. Oh, it was there! A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but then I turned my gaze back to the same place. It was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. Is it still there somewhere? Hidden in the... They're gonna disguise it again. My muscles were tightly sprung. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. Run, kid, run! I looked at the mitten once more. Run! Lumps of snow fell from the... I wanted to grab it, but I feel like if I grabbed it, it wouldn't be the only thing being grabbed. Lumps of snow fell from the branch, and that reminded me of the snowy soil makes. The sound soil makes when you throw it into the pit on top of a casket. This music is going crazy. I immediately felt dizzy as if I was balancing a precipice. I slowly backed away from my finding. I felt like the moment I touched it with a trap would spring, and the mouse would get caught. Someone walked on ice behind me. Close, my inner voice whispered, "Save yourself, run." My nerves got the better of me. I ran, burying my head in my shoulders. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew across my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably of one reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. "You can do it. Don't stop." I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than one single. Their nostrils sucked in freezing cold air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew around the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. I felt like I was inside of a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious like a quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. What is happening? Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all of my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of this hole and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump, and from there I ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. In fact, it looked safe. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my eyes was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in my front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob. It obediently gave way. Close that freaking door and bolt that lock. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. "What do you mean?" I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. "What exactly don't you understand when I tell you never to slam the door?" I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. What if it wasn't anyone? What if it was our imagination? I can't believe that. I refuse to believe something like that. But what if those animals outside are actually trying to save me from what's going on? What if what's going on is much bigger than we understand, and our mother is evil? Maybe the police are evil. Maybe we're thinking too much into it. But maybe, just maybe, we're not. Here, mere 5 minutes away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it the last bit of strength I had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before, all of those quarrels. She saw my condition at last, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you, too? What? Aw, her face looks sad. I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted to cuddle me. Wait, what? My mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me, I thought. I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant as she covered her mouth with her hand. Look, over there, at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I'd become prey once again and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratching at the door, just like in my nightmare. Please tell me it's not a body. Mom beckoned me with her finger and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen, window facing my fear. Oh, it's just a couple of dogs. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through icy winter patterns on the glass. Or are they trying to fight that dog? Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding me of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. How do you know they're... Oh, why was she covering her mouth? I thought she was scared. Oh boy, were you scared of them. I thought they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. What if they attack Olya? Mom, I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive. Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid already. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. Welp, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy. Who cried wolf? What was that noise? What is she doing? Oh, don't just stand there. Come, take your pill. Oh, he does have an illness. A golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell into my palm. A golden-colored pill. The only thing I could find is mirtazapine. It's probably not that. That's for like major depressive disorder. And the kid is pretty anxious around school, so it might have something to do with that. But that's just a theory. A chroma theory. Okay, I'm done. I need to not bring my job into this. I'm not allowed to. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and you? Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten after all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olya's owl? Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear subside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference. It sounds like depression medication, along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure what I was looking at. And a doppelganger, what she was looking at? Her own son, or maybe some doppelganger that came out of the forest? Is everything all right? You had the same exact expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. What's going on? Or maybe these pills are put here by some greater force so that I can't see the monsters and can't demolish their plans, their diabolical plans. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva in my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Alia was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Iago's voices died down. I walked past Olia's bedroom and slipped into my own. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. Oh. Only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. Who it is, we'll find out later. Thank you for watching. No, okay, we'll find out. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a shroud. Alia? Who else would be standing there? I think Olia's in her room. I stood up and licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olia, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached toward the curtains. Badum, badum, badum. Okay, I can't do heart noises. Beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking right back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Gotcha! Okay, I thought she was in her room watching Aladdin. I knew it was you from the beginning. Okay, so it was just Alia. Or maybe it's the owl. Maybe the kids in this are actually the monsters. Thank you for watching, and we'll meet again in the next contingency.